Hello students and welcome to the first lecture. In today's lecture we're going to be looking at the importance of public speaking. So before we begin, these are some of the objectives that I would like you to be able to know and understand by the conclusion of this lesson. I would first of all like you to be able to define public speaking. I would like you to know the different types of public speaking. I would like you to know the benefits of public speaking, and by the conclusion of this lecture, you should have an overall understanding of the models of public speaking. So firstly, what exactly is public speaking? Well, public speaking is the process of designing and delivering a message to an audience. So designing includes preparing a speech maybe on an outline or on a script, and then you take that outline and script and you deliver it to the audience through verbal and nonverbal delivery. So taking a message written on an outline and delivering it to an audience is essentially what public speaking is. What is effective public speaking? Well, firstly, it's understanding your audience and the speaking goals. So as you plan the speech, you should think to yourself, well, what is my goal? Am I intending to inform the audience? Am I intending to persuade? Am I intending to entertain? And not only do you need to establish a goal and the main purpose of your speech, but you also need to understand your audience. What is their background? What is their demographic information? What are their experiences? What is their educational level? So you have to understand the audience in order to be able to create an effective public speech. Another element is choosing elements that will engage your audience with your topic. So choosing elements that will pull your audience in, will really get them interested and enthused in your speech. Such as maybe, a visual aid, maybe an image, maybe a cool poster, maybe, neat hand gestures or something like that. But you have to choose elements that you know will spark your audience's interest. And delivering your message skillfully is also important in order to deliver an effective speech. It's not just about the verbal message, but it's also about how you deliver it. It's about how you speak it, but it's also about how you deliver the message through hand gestures, through body language, posture, whatever it may be. So what are the types of public speaking? Well, the first is informative speaking, sharing one's knowledge of a subject with an audience. So it's basically sharing what you know to the audience. It's essentially what informative speech is. Persuasive speech is persuading others to change their beliefs or take action. So the first type of persuasive speech could be to change an audience's beliefs, attitudes, or values. Perhaps they believe that euthanasia is correct and you want to persuade your audience to change that viewpoint. That might be an example of getting others to change their behavior. And the second type of persuasive speaking is taking action. It's called a call of action. So you're getting the audience to take some kind of behavior, like maybe you're saying that, cell phones while driving is wrong and we should you have the audience sign a petition banning cell phones while driving. The last type of public speech is entertaining. And in an entertaining speech, it's not a joke-telling speech. It is basically a speech that stirs the audience's emotion and, in a way, amuses the audience. It can be an introduction speech. Maybe you're introducing somebody who just received an award, or it could be a wedding toast. If you've ever been to a wedding or maid of honor, you might give a toast, and that could be an example of an entertaining speech. Or presenting and accepting awards can also be an example of an entertaining speech. So, now that we've looked at the types of public speaking, what exactly are the benefits of public speaking? Well, firstly, it allows you to develop critical thinking and problem-solving skills. When you do research, You're developing those critical thinking and problem-solving skills. When you prepare an outline and prepare your speech, you're developing problem-solving skills because you're saying, well, that's not going to work with this. What can we do to make this point sound better? You're coming up with solutions to make things better. And another benefit is improving verbal and nonverbal skills. So you're improving your eye contact, your body language, your hand gestures through getting up in front of a crowd. And you're also improving your verbal communication. You're improving your interactions with others. You're learning how to speak and communicate with others. You're developing good communication skills, both verbally and nonverbally. Another benefit is overcoming speech anxiety. You don't know something until you try it. Getting up and I know, even me, I don't really ever get nervous a lot, but even an experienced speaker gets nervous. So don't just face that fear. And public speaking allows you to face that fear and to conquer that fear. And it allows you to get up on stage and kind of conquer it by practicing your public speaking skills. And the more that you practice your public speaking skills, the more that you will overcome that fear and get better as time goes on. Public speaking also helps you develop leadership skills. When you're up in front of a crowd and speaking in front of an audience and advocating, you're developing leadership skills because you're being an advocate for people. You're being a supporter for people. So you're developing leadership skills. You're changing people's thoughts. And most importantly, it allows you to impact the world around you. It allows you to make a difference in the audience's lives no matter what. It allows you to influence the audience in some ways. So now let's look at some of the models of public speaking. The first is interaction model, which is kind of the idea of the sender and receiver. The sender is obviously the person sending the message. So the person sending the message would be the speaker. The receiver is the audience member or the listener, who is the person receiving the message. Noise is any static that distorts the message. So maybe if you're in a public speaking class and you hear two people talking, you're kind of confused on what the speaker is saying. That would be an example of noise. Or cell phones ringing while somebody is giving a speech might be an example of a noise. Channel, which is speakers' use of verbal and nonverbal communication. So essentially the speaker uses not only their verbal communication, their language, to communicate a message across the audience, but they also communicate a message through their nonverbal communication, through their body language, through their hand gestures. So in the interactional model, there's encoding and decoding. The encoding is what the source says when creating a message. They adapt it to the receiver, so they adapt it to the audience and make sure it's appropriate and acceptable for the audience, and then they transmit it across the channel. So once they discover that it adapts to the audience and fits the audience, they transmit over the channel through nonverbal and verbal communication. Decoding is the other part, which is hearing a source's message. So you hear your teacher talking, interpreting the source's message. So you interpret what your teacher is trying to tell you in their lecture, and then you evaluate the source message. So you kind of evaluate, is it good, is it bad, kind of evaluating and judging the message itself. All right, and in an interactional model, there are 3 different types of direct feedback. Direct feedback is one of them. Direct feedback is where the speaker talks directly to the source. So just like talking directly to the audience, talking directly to your friend is what direct feedback is. There's also moderately direct, which focuses on nonverbal message while the speaker is talking. So an audience member, instead of focusing on their verbal message, might just focus on the speaker's hand gestures or the way they're moving or their posture. And indirect feedback is time gap between message and receiving feedback. So it's like little pauses in between the feedback. And an example of indirect feedback could be like waiting to receive a grade, because after you do a speech, you have to wait a little while to receive a grade. So that could be an example of indirect feedback. Alright, now let's look at the transactional model, which is where individuals are sending and receiving messages at the same time. They're continuously sending messages back and forth. It's just like talking to a friend, you're having a conversation back and forth with them. That's what a transactional model is. Interactions, concrete meaning through shared field of experience. Background influences one's ability to communicate with others. Your experiences, your background information, your demographic information like your age, your gender, all factor into influencing how you communicate with others. It influences, how you speak in front of crowds, how you communicate, how you interact with others. Alright, that concludes the lecture for today. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and I can't wait for the next lecture.